Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, everyone, depending on when you're listening to GG Shop Talk. I am your host, Brendan Mills, and you are joined with me today with my co-host, Gus the Hutt, also known as...
Ooh, really cold, actually. Hold on. Let me just put this on. Oh.
What's that?
Oh, it's just a thin coat. Oh, it's not enough, actually. Hold on. Oh, that's... Oh.
Was that another thin coat?
Much better. Yeah. It's so cold in here. 2 thin coats is just enough.
Right. Wow, that's brilliant. That's one of your best intros yet, mate. Thank you so much for that. And you know what?
I've been waiting all week to do that.
I bet you have. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a massive interview for you today. He has been compared to so many different things over the time, and recently this morning, trying to explain who this person was to my 11-year-old daughter, I referred him as the equivalent to the Queen in our industry. I'm not sure if
I don't think all that rates him highly enough.
But basically today, ladies and gentlemen, we've got something really special for you. The kind Duncan Rhodes has offered to come and basically have a chat with us today. That is what we're starting off with, and it seems almost superfluous to even continue the podcast after that. It's like it's just going on a downhill trajectory after that. But then we are obviously going to be talking about, and for some reason I haven't got my show notes in front of me, really professional.
Very organised.
Yeah. Where are they?
I've got mine here.
Okay. Right, so yeah, we're going to talk to Duncan Rhodes, and we've got a bit of GW news, the new pre-orders coming up this week, talking about the Warhammer Plus. Geek Out might be cancelled today, depending on what much time we've got left. There's a bit of GG news for everyone, as usual, and then we'll do...
Exciting times.
Sorry, say again?
Exciting times.
Oh, yes, possibly. And then we will obviously get on to listeners' questions, where a few of you have put your questions into the Discord. So if any of you have got questions later on, we can either ask you during the Discord, ask you for them in the chat, or we'll go to our Discord and get them from there. But let's not waste any more time. Let's welcome on to the show. Is he going to come? Is he there?
The one, the only, the man, the myth, the meme.
Hello, Duncan.
Hello. How you all doing?
Yeah, I'm absolutely
We're
fantastic.
doing pretty good here.
Right, the majority...
Hello to the chat as well. I'm sure you're all chatting away.
There you go, chat. This is Duncan Rhodes.
I've got to be aware that there's a delay for me to both of you at the moment, I think. So.
Yes, as everyone knows who has watched my streams this week, I am off with COVID, so I do apologise to everyone, which means that there is literally a delay from me to them, from them to the stream, from the stream to you, and vice versa between us all. So there's a good 3 or 4 seconds in there, I think, at times. So we have to bear in mind we might be over-talking each other for a bit. But I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking now for quite a bit, and I'm going to hand this over to Gus because he's been looking forward to this for about 2 weeks now.
Well, welcome along, Duncan. Thank you for joining us today.
You're very welcome.
For those of... Yeah, we expect that most of our listeners know exactly who you are, but for the 2 guys sitting in the back that don't know, would you like to introduce yourself and a little bit of who you are and what you do?
Good. Wow. Yeah, it's strange people knowing who I am. I don't like to expect or anything like that. So my name's Duncan, and I somehow have a weird job of teaching people how to paint miniatures. And I kind of think I got into doing it mostly from being in the right place at the right time. But that's really kind of like my passion on my career all the way through. Wargaming was kind of helping unlock it for people. And so these days, I've been in a whole host of YouTube videos explain how to do it. I used to do it for Games Workshop, and these days I do it independently with my business partner, Roger. And the intent is a guide showing you that you can achieve the results that you see on the boxes and the photographs and stuff like that by breaking it down into manageable steps that you can achieve. So that's kind of what I do, really.
Brilliant. Absolutely amazing. So you started up the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, haven't you? And how did that go? I mean, how long ago was that now? About 2 years? 2 years you started that? How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's around about... well, looking at the date today, it's close to being 2 years since I handed in my notes at Games Workshop.
Right.
Which has gone by very quickly. So Roger and I used to work for Warhammer TV, where with the painting tutorial content that they do on there, we were kind of there like starting out before Warhammer TV was a thing. And it was Roger who largely designed how the videos looked and things, and he brought me in as his presenter because the two of us had a bit of experience working on this kind of stuff before, and it just sort of took off. But Roger's always had a dream of running his own business. That's always what he's wanted to do. And I've always thought it sounded kind of cool, but, never really thought it would be something I ended up doing. But we realized we were at a point where we had enough of a reputation around that people didn't understand what we did. So that if he wanted to try doing it as an independent business, then it was kind of like the groundwork was laid out and perfect to do it. So we were at a question of either we do it or we don't do it, and kind of accept that, but possibly have regrets about it. So we thought we'd gamble and try it. So we left Games Workshop and set ourselves up, and then the COVID lockdown happened. So pretty much on the week of when we launched the website, so it's a membership website. If people want to get an idea of the kind of thing that's on it, we do have a YouTube channel called Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and on there you'll see we have guides to different techniques or miniatures and things. The website's basically a membership site for that kind of content, but there's vastly more of it. And we opened it up with, I think it was 12 videos on at the time. And that week is when the lockdown happened. So we hadn't, and we still don't really have any idea what impact that had on how things went. Thankfully, everything went great. Thank goodness. Because as you can imagine, like leaving a career at Games Workshop to go and do this was quite a scary prospect. So, thank God it's support. But it seems to have gone well. We don't know if the lockdown caused more people to join us or less people to join us, but it's been okay.
Right,
it's been all right. And it means
so that was going to be one of my next questions. Was did the sort of lockdown sort of hinder you or help you? Do you reckon? Did that pose many problems for getting things up and running?
Well, we have noticed a number of people asking us questions who say they start the hobby. And the time would always kind of drop back to when lockdown started. So I do think that a lot of people got into it with nothing to do. They kind of thought back to what they used to do. I used to do craft stuff when I was a kid. I used to collect Warhammer. And so they kind of got back in that way, I think. So I think we had a number of members join us for that. But whether it's a big difference or not, I really don't know.
I mean, I myself
it's been nice to help support people through it.
Yeah, I mean, I myself and that I've basically learnt so much from watching your videos from your time at Games Workshop that as soon as you set up the Painting Academy, I was like, yeah, I'm all over that. He deserves my money. I'm throwing money at him. And because of the lockdown beginning and that, it kind of put me off to start with. And I think it was, I said that, right, as long as he's putting out the free videos of things that I want to see, I won't start subscribing. But as soon as he does something that I really will have to watch, he's getting my money. And I sort of said that, and then about 2 weeks later, you put up the video of the Keeper of Secrets, and I was like, that's it. Take my money.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of thing where in a perfect world we'd just do it all for free and just put it on YouTube. But Roger and I did a lot of work kind of working out how we'd be able to essentially pay ourselves through it. And if you're going to do YouTubing, you have to get an enormous amount of subscribers to be able to make money out of the advertising revenue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the reality is, in this industry, you're just not really going to reach that kind of thing.
Yeah, don't we know it?
You have to then rely upon you have to rely upon businesses essentially sponsoring you to do things, which is then going to take away what we wanted to. Basically, independence is what we wanted to be able to do what we. So we could be completely honest about what we said about things and what products we did. So if we paint a thing, it's because we think it's cool, rather than being paid to do it. So the membership model was the best solution we could have, and we did our sums and kind of like predicted how many people we thought would join and stuff, and basically made it as cheap as we could. But that's why we run it on that site. So we can afford to feed ourselves, basically.
Yeah. Are there any plans to sort of expand on the Painting Academy, like bring in other? I mean, I know obviously it's the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and you're the face and everything. Is there any plans to sort of make things a bit more grander? Other projects to do with the Painting Academy that you've got ideas for?
We do, yeah. I mean, there's a few of them. Roger would kill me if I talked about. Just
I mean,
now,
obviously, if there's
you can see
stuff you can't talk about. Yeah.
We've got some ideas and some plans. People look at our the Kickstarter, which we'll talk about soon. You'll get some ideas as to kind of things that we hope to do in the future. But there's some extra things that we want to add for the members on the site. So like more reasons and more things and stuff to join. So, we're looking at live streams and things like that. A podcast, that kind of thing. But essentially our schedule, because we've put out so much content for the painting videos, our schedule is really full. So what we're trying to do is make things more efficient so that we have time to do these extra things. It's difficult to fit it all in, really. But the main thing is we want to make sure we're always putting out lots of content. So anyone who does subscribe, and there's no tiers, by the way. There's no like you're allowed a certain amount of videos. If you subscribe for a month, you have access to everything for that month.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think it's about 175 videos. I think, but we're averaging 2 a week.
Yeah, I mean,
some are
it's
really
really
long,
nice.
detailed ones. Some are really short.
From someone who
I mean, it's really
has...
nice as well that you've managed to. Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. From someone who has
go, Brendan, go.
only recently started myself. Like I own a shop, I sell the stuff, but I've only actually recently started painting pretty much at the beginning of this year. To have that much content, to be able to put out that much stuff every week, that isn't a small amount of stuff. You're a
Taught him everything I know.
Yeah, you're a small company. You are putting out, on average, more content than GW on Warhammer Plus.
Yeah, we're quite surprised by that, to be honest.
Yeah.
we were wondering, like, if we were still at Games Workshop, would we be working on Warhammer Plus? And if so, would we be like putting out half the content for it?
I would say you would.
Then again, we can't do like fully rendered 3D videos and stuff.
Yeah, it's really nice as well to see a varied array of things that you painting on the Painting Academy as well, rather than just the Games Workshop stuff all the time. You play like the historicals and the Star Wars models, the Star Wars especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, any sort of other sort of lines and that you haven't touched on yet that you go, ooh, I like their models, but I haven't put those on yet.
Oh, I mean, there's loads. It's a huge. So most people get into the industry through Games Workshop because, like, if you imagine it as like a big pie chart, Games Workshop over half the market, right? So it's huge. But in the other part of it, there's a lot of different things out there, and there's a huge amount of things that players can explore. So people tend to get into it through Warhammer, and then start to find the thing that they like, and people tend to sort of split out from that. Besides Warhammer is the biggest, most popular thing on the site, but we do have a lot of other things too. So you mentioned the historicals, which, like, with historicals, you basically got like lots of different rule sets, and you kind of choose what miniatures you want to play in the rule set you like, and they're all different.
Yeah, cool.
Very kind of like an open thing. But we have things like we'll do Napoleonics and we'll do ancients and stuff. So we've got like a Roman. In fact, the Romans on the YouTube channel. But we've got barbarian on the website too. So like a Gallic warrior. We've got Greek on the website. We're going to be adding some Dark Age stuff too, like a Viking, which is going to be pretty cool.
Awesome.
But we also have other games. So there's ones from Modifius. So you guys are probably familiar with Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, right?
Yes.
So there's a war game based on those by Modifius Entertainment. So we've got quite a lot there. We know a lot of people join us for the Elder Scrolls content, like the dragon and everything. There's A Song of Ice and Fire 2. So there's a really good war game for that, which if anyone's looking for a sort of like a ranked up fantasy game, I definitely recommend you check that one out. It's a very, very good game.
That's gaining a lot of traction and that, and a lot of like gaming clubs and that at the moment. So
it is, and good reason. It's genuinely it's the only game I go willingly to a tournament to play. I'm not really a tournament player, but that game is just so much fun that I'll go on and play that. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, we've got a lot of Star Wars content too. Star Wars we know is very popular with the members, so we often do Star Wars Legion things. So there's a wide variety of stuff, and there's always new things that we want to add to. So this week we're doing a miniature that's from a board game actually, which is a bit different from Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yes.
So we painted Cthulhu because it's Halloween.
Yeah, I read the news now.
Oh yes, yeah, and I picked up the set. In fact, it's one of my current projects. So there it is. That's the thing I'm currently working on, and I painted my own Cthulhu in the same way I did the video. And we're going to be going into doing some stuff with Flames of War, which I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that.
Yes,
but that's kind of the premier game from a company called Battlefront. They do historical kind of from World War One through to like sort of World War Three, right? So Cold War gone hot kind of stuff, and their scale is smaller. It's 15 mil, so they have smaller little tanks. So you have tank formations rather than one tank. So we're going to start doing some stuff about that. So we're always looking to expand into new things, and we encourage members to contact us either on our forum or directly and say, "Oh, we'd like to see this miniature painted," and then we can look into that. And if there's interest in it, we can do that. So we like to have a bit of a communal thing about things, about what subjects we cover.
Well, talking of expansion, about that Kickstarter, eh? Wow.
Yeah, I think I was in there in the first on that Kickstarter. I was definitely in there in the first couple hours. I think I went for the top one that was cheaper.
Sir Coates Oath, is this? Yeah. That.
Unfortunately, my bank account said no.
Yeah, so we got. Oh, don't worry, they'll be out soon enough. They, we got approached by an industry veteran, this guy called Bob, who has a long history going all the way back through many different games companies and things. And he was doing his own new business called Transatlantic Games, and he wanted to license our brands to make a range of paints. And we were like, that sounds cool. But we were involved in stuff like that, so it became quite a partnership where we were deciding what these paints were going to be like, and he was running the business side.
So you were approached to do the paint line then, rather than seeking it out yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And it was something that we always kind of like. We hoped to be able to go into having a range of hobby products. So that was like a future thing. So it just suddenly came out of the blue of like, you could do it now. Oh, okay. So we did a lot of work on it, of like design, picking colours and testing the paints and things. So it's been a long process going on for most of a year of us having a little sample, trying it, and then sending it back, and then changing it, then it coming back to us and doing a bit more and stuff. So it's quite a long, involved process. But we got to the point where we're like, okay, so we're happy with these samples aside from a few minor tweaks still to do, and that's when the Kickstarter began. And the Kickstarter is essentially funding doing all of this. So, and then it kind of blew up and did way better than any of us expected.
What was the original goal? It was like 30,000, something like that?
Wasn't it 37,000 or something?
The original goal was, it was $50,000 was the original target, and it did, I think, 1,100,000 something.
Damn.
We didn't think it would.
As you were sitting there in the first couple of days,
we just didn't think it would go that far.
The numbers go up. What was going through your head?
I couldn't believe it. I mean, we knew when it was starting, and we obviously promoted it a little bit, and we were watching it in the office, and we were in the studio. We'd stopped filming just after lunch, and it was like, right, it's going, let's watch. And the number just started racking up rapidly. And originally we were like, oh goodness, I hope it gets funded. It'd be really embarrassing if it doesn't. And then it just like hit it in like 16 minutes. It hit the funding thing. It just kept on going. And we were on the phone to our parents, like, you got to look at this. Like, and they were like, oh my God. It was incredible. Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
Duncan, once again, underestimating his own star power.
Well, yeah, I don't. It's a weird thing to explain to people, right? But like all this stuff with what I do, that's not what I do it for. No. I just want people to enjoy their toys and to be able to paint stuff. So I kind of shy away from it. So it's always a bit of a weird thing when I suddenly encounter something like that, and you see how much goodwill. It was the same at the start of the academy. We didn't know how many people were going to join, and we were like, "Oh God, I hope we get enough." And like, so we kind of done the maths as to how much we need. But then our website crashed straight away because the amount of traffic went to it, and like, oh, goodness. So it's always, and I'm always very keen not to let it go to my head or anything. And I tell a lot of people, you know, if I ever do start getting arrogant about this sort of stuff, kick my ass, bring me back to earth.
That's why I have an abused
and it's also
channel point redeem on my Twitch stream just to keep me in check. If I ever start getting too big headed, like hit the abuse button. It's like, put me in my place.
Oh, if gets you more views, then go for it. But I feel like a bit weird because also Roger's always been there in the background, even from the early days at Games Workshop, and he trained me to do all this sort of stuff, and no one knew who he was. So it's nice now that we're like, yes, two of us doing this kind of thing. But I really am just half the show, and he's the other half putting it all together.
I mean, how does he feel about the sort of fame aspect? Because he's essentially the Michael Collins of the operation. So, sort of like shoved in the background, kind of gets forgotten about by a lot of the people, which is a little unfair.
It
deserves more recognition.
He's fine with it. He's always said to me right from the start that he understands that because I'm in front of the camera, most people are going to be seeing me, and he's fine with it. He's mostly happy that the business is successful so that he can afford to, you know, buy nice things for his kids.
Of course.
You know, that's kind of what's important to him. But he also knows that I know that it's a team effort that does things, and it's always been very important to me that it stays that way. So I think we just have a good understanding of how each other operate, and because it was just the two of us for a long time at Games Workshop in essentially a soundproof room working on these videos all the time. You know how things happen in life, and you have ups and downs and things. So both of us ended up going through some quite difficult times, and we talked to the other one about it. So we ended up becoming really good friends because of it, and really trusting each other about it. So there's been, like, with the starting of the business, we were able to get the capital to do it, and there was a lot of trust with each other as to what we do with it, and we both had like access to the bank account for the business, and we trust each other completely with it. So it's I think it's a very deep connection that we've got, and I think that's whole classics sort of thing. What I really like now is that we do have Roger sort of appearing as a bit of a running gag in videos, and that you never quite see his face. You just see his hand coming out of the camera and stuff like that. we were thinking about whenever we do a photo, like arranging the photo so it just so happens, like if we're on a road trip to go and get like the new 40k or something like that, and the two of us are in the car. If I'm going, the front, and my arm's in the way of his face, so you can't see what it looks like.
It's the Howard's mum of the channel.
Howard's mum out of the Bang, or Mike Wazowski out of Monsters Inc. Oh, did that just fall flat?
It's great. It's it's great. It's really nice to be able to work with a close friend like this.
Brilliant. So, is there any sort of big grand plans? Because obviously, you've funded the paint range and that beyond your wildest dreams. Is there any sort of plans for further expansions or big projects like that in the future? Where are we going to get Duncan Rhodes lunchboxes anytime soon?
Merch.
Full merchandising.
We do have plans on things. I mean, it's great to be working with Transatlantis because the people, whilst it's a new company, the people who are all the different positions in it are all industry veterans. They know what they're doing. So like the paint range is kind of the start, like the first thing that they're doing, but they're working on the games and things which people will see in due course. But it's great having this good relationship with them, because it means we can, in the future, like start looking at expanding and having like more paints or tools, brushes, and things like that. So, the hope is to be able to have that really cool hobby range, and the idea is to make it as good as possible, as affordable as possible, for us to stick to our principles of making the hobby as accessible as we can for people. And besides that, it's a games company, so we'll see what happens, right?
So Duncan Rhodes, the board game in the near future.
I will just quickly mention something that someone put on.
We've got ideas of things that we want to do.
I will just mention something that someone put on the chat. I want a thin coat that says 2 thin coats on it, available to buy in 2s, just like obviously what Gus did at the beginning with the gag. No, that would be quite ironic. That would be quite good.
Have you seen what Studio J7's put?
What did Studio J7
put? So I've got a coat.
So Studio J7.
I've got a walking jacket that's got like.
Sorry, my control room would like to ask a question quickly. This comes from Studio J7, that's quite big on Twitch. Go ahead, control room.
Studio J7 said, "What about Duncan Rhodes canoes or kayaks? 2 thin boats."
Oh wow!
This 2 thin coats thing is going to be on my tombstone, I swear.
There is no escaping it. You cannot get away with it at this point. Yeah, I was this close to trying to put together a set of Duncan Rhodes, Chuck Norris style facts. To put on the screen. The one that I came up with, it was once said that Duncan won Golden Demon with 2 tins of emulsion and a paint roller.
Oh man, you know that one's not true though, because I'm not a competition painter. I go into painting competitions and stuff. That's really my thing. Yeah. But I am like, so I wore this shirt because I thought it'd be funny for the stream. There we go.
Right? Nice.
This was given to me by somebody at Adepticon. Who had it printed, and I saw there was a shop selling shirts like this. Just like a random shop, and I walked past it, and all these very weird.
That's your IP though. They can't do that.
Need copyright that.
Yeah.
God, people go, "Oh, what's that mean?" Oh, so that's how I paint miniatures.
Although as me and Gus have said, when it comes to white though, it's more like 10 thin coats.
Wow, it depends what paint you use.
It very much depends.
Of course. The 2 thin coat paints will be fine. I'm trying to teach
him the ways, Duncan.
I'm sure your paints will be absolutely fine.
Well, we do have a paint in the range that's called. We do have a paint in the range that's called Trooper White, which may or may not be designed for soldiers wearing white armor. Right, so I'll let you decide. But it's designed basically cover really well, so that if you want to block in white armor panels, theoretically, it's designed for that sort of purpose. And it's also off-white, naked white, so you can get a very clean white appearance to your armor. See, we thought about this.
Yeah, nice. You see, me and Gus have got this running thing going about what the Warhammer Plus Masterclass is doing with their colouring. And basically they said there was one where they went how to paint black armor, and I went, that's not black anymore, it's now blue. And where I haven't watched actually the white armor video they did last week.
You haven't watched it
yet?
No,
I haven't watched it.
I was expecting you to have another rant about it.
Oh,
I was like,
let me guess.
Please don't
from your
embarrass me in front of Duncan. No, please don't.
Well, from your comment, I take it that it isn't white anymore. Then
I haven't actually watched it myself.
Oh, okay.
It almost certainly isn't. See, it's a trap, all right? If you want to paint something white, don't paint it a pure white, because in real life, like, white absorbs colour from surroundings, so you never quite get a pure white anyway. But if you paint the miniature with as pure white as you can get, then you can't highlight it because there's nothing you can put on it to make it go lighter. So you end up with a really flat appearance. Whereas if you go for a slight off-white, it'll look white, especially when you put it next to black. But it means you can then use that pure white for a highlight, and you get a more sort of like solid finish to it. So it's kind of the same with black. Black is really easy to over highlight and turn it grey. You got to be so weirdly black is harder to paint than white, I find, because you can end up just making it go grey or blue, like you say. So you got to be really careful with it, and especially when it gets to really sharp, like specular highlights and things.
Yeah,
But I do know that Louise on Warhammer TV, Warhammer Plus, has been doing like really advanced stuff. So it's kind of like the display level painting is what they're doing there.
Yeah, there's the masterclass.
I mean, I have actually watched your Black Templar video from recently, and
Now this,
they're very different techniques.
I'm not sure if it's going to focus properly, but this was very hard to try and look good.
Yes,
it's
how it looks great.
I was, instead of trying to highlight it with
I
shades of
keep telling
black,
you this; it looks really good.
I went for whites and silvers to try and highlight with it to make it bring it, especially on the gun. It looks better on the gun when it focuses.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it looks great.
Oh, I appreciate that. I wasn't fishing. Right.
No, it looks fantastic. Yeah, white is a difficult thing, especially on Tau, because Tau got so many of those sharp, clean edges. It's a bit of a headache to get that neat finish to it. But,
yeah, definitely.
as you well know now.
Right, Brendan. So, shall we do some listeners' questions?
Oh,
Duncan?
do you want to do some now and then a few later? We might have a few. That's the only reason why.
I mean, I think maybe doing them now and that because time restraints and that for Duncan and that. So just in case.
Okay, just in case we have to cut off later on. That's fine. Right. So, shall we? Do you want to ask the one from Simon? I've got it in front of me. I'll do it. Okay. Okay. So Simon says, "Make paint play." Is asking, "Do you have any previous experience of teaching? Your presentation and explanations make it very easy for new and old alike to engage and get into some painting, and this proves excellent for teaching new recruits."
Hi, Simon. I suppose the only teaching experience I have is when I was working in Games Workshop retail. That was the initial thing. And I found that I just adapted very well to painting lessons and intro games and things, and kind of helping encourage people to do stuff. Because I experienced when I was a kid, I was very shy and introverted. So if I kind of encountered someone who was rude, who was like doing a lesson or whatever, then I'd not get into it and it stopped me from doing stuff. So I was always very keen to be as welcoming and as accessible as possible. And that's it, really. My mum was always said to me that I'd be an excellent teacher and I should have been a teacher. But my mum's best friend's son has been a teacher. And I've heard stories. It's too stressful for him. He's had enough. So I think I got lucky. I probably would have ended up being a teacher or something, I suppose. I don't know. But I don't know. I just enjoy it. I just enjoy helping. I get like a buzz from someone trying it from the tuition and then doing it and getting the great result and going, I'm really happy with this. And it's like, really. Thank you for saying, I guess.
That's cool. Clearly, Simon has.
The thing is, it's really helped like the likes of me as well, because I've been in the hobby for about 30 years now, and I was actually not particularly great painter until about 10 years ago, when I started watching the Games Workshop tutorials, and then lovely Duncan popped up after a few years, and you taught me so much. It's just your videos. I mean, I'd watched other videos before, but your videos especially, they just helped me so much learn new techniques and that, because they were just so easy to follow. So a big thank you.
That's great to hear.
I've got a question from Turnstrike. Do you have any sort of pre-session things you do to get yourself ready to create art? For example, I'll spend some time looking at Instagram or watching Painting Academy videos, not even related to my model, just to prepare myself.
Hello, Turnstrike. I don't really. I mean, so when I'm going to paint, I just sit down and do it. And as you know, painting is quite a very personal thing, so I find it good escapism, good de-stressing, that sort of stuff. When it comes to the video stuff, I do preparation in the form of writing the script or the plan or anything from it. I suppose that's about as close to that as I get, really. And it'll be stuff like, so this week we do Cthulhu, for example, for a video. And I wanted to make sure I was confident in what was going to happen with it. So on my own one, I used it as kind of the test model for it. So I'd try stuff, if it didn't work, I'd reset it, I'd redo it and stuff until I was happy with it and record as I do it, what I'm doing. And then that then leads on to the actual thing you see in the video. That's about the closest I think I get to that. And time sometimes means I have to theorize something and go with it. And from experience, I'll know largely it's going to work. But sometimes on the fly, I might have to, describe what I'm doing or change something in the script as we do it. But I'm always happiest once I've, like, shortly before, like maybe 2 or 3 days before, I've had to go doing the thing before we do it in the video. That's about as close to that, I think, as I get.
That's cool. That is awesome. I did.
Excellent.
A lot of videos, I guess, are scripted in a way, but is it just a plan you do, or do you go down? Because before I started streaming, I constantly watched Linus Tech Tips. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. But literally, I think they are scripted with teleprompts and everything. So to what degree is it that your videos go down to, if you don't mind answering?
Well, Roger was always very strict in making sure that I didn't script things word for word, because, and I think he's right, when you do, you can tell, and it doesn't feel as organic, and it means that when something unexpected happens during the shot, you can't react very easily to it, because you kind of have a little safety zone that you want to stay in. So the worst thing for me in doing this was when we were doing the outros for the old videos at Games Workshop, because you have to remember the key points to go through. And what I got, it was always difficult to remember it and to go through that long sequence without making a mistake. So I started writing down on a Post-it note the points I had to make, and I'd stick it next to the camera. And he kept stopping me from doing that. It's like, no, learn what you got to do, and then do it and stuff. And in the end, it's harder, but it means that you become more capable, I guess, So yeah, my stuff isn't scripted. The script, if you could call it that, I guess, is essentially a bullet point list of the colours I'm going to be using and in what order. And if there's a particular important thing about it, that'll be noted there as well. And Roger uses it to create his shot list for what he wants, and also is a reminder for me as well as to when I need to emphasise a certain thing. So, for example, right, with doing the Cthulhu model, I guess is a good example. In that it's like, point 1, dark green, this, and I'll list the colour I use, which I believe is Caliban green, but then it's like, also note alternate. So like we say, so it reminds me in the video to go, so I'm going to be using Caliban green for this, but you don't have to. Any sort of dark green like this is fine. So you might want to go for an army painter one, a layer one, or So that's kind of as far as it goes. And if there's like a detail like showing how to blend a thing, I'll know, like, so this colour might need this to blend it, but that's as much as it is. When we started, I used to write really intricate scripts with loads and loads of words. But nowadays, if you look at them, they're like almost a list of paint names with a few little extra details added as they go down.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Right. Get into a situation where you look back at some of your projects and you go, I wish I'd sort of done that colour before I did that one, or done it in a different order. Yeah.
Well, I would say...
Yes, yeah, there are times when I do look back and go, I could have done that better.
Yeah.
What I would say to everyone is that is currently put in, I think we in total have got about 7 or 8 questions still waiting to be asked. We won't be able to go through them all, everyone, because we have a podcast.
Yeah, we're not going through all of them. I mean, some of them we've kind of covered already.
Do you want to pick out one, Gus?
Yeah. I was... I've lost it. Lost it. Did I ever have it? No.
I'll quickly ask one. Right, Wasp's creation on Instagram has asked, what was it that first got you into the hobby?
It was encountering a Games Workshop stand in a model shop in this little village called Ashby de la Zouche, which is in the Midlands, like a really small little classic village, and it had a model shop, and I was really into model aeroplanes and Star Wars and stuff like that. And on this stand, they had the little leaflet from the 2nd edition 40k game, the basic how to play thing. And in that, it had some pictures of Space Marines fighting Orcs and Gretchen. And I looked at Space Marines and went, they look awesome. They look like a combination of Darth Vader and Stormtroopers. I'm in. And then I found out they had guns that shot rockets that blow up and stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. So that's what got me into Warhammer. And by extension, wargaming from then on, because I'd be into Warhammer and stuff. And then I went with my dad to the cinema to see Gladiator and saw the Romans. I thought, that's awesome. How cool would it be if you could have some like Warhammer Romans? Then I discovered that these things all exist. And so kind of my horizons kept expanding from that point on. And so,
cool.
yeah, basically going to a model shop.
Gus?
I am Duncanus Decimus Rhodius.
Question, Gus?
Sorry. Right, so Mr. McFibble from Twitch. Firstly, thanks for making the hobby so accessible for everyone. Do you have any outtakes from your videos? When can we see the compilation video?
I think Roger does save them. It's stuff like we'll do a shot, and then I just stop talking, and half a second later the doorbell goes or something like that. The buzzer rings, or Bernice, who's our admin lady, she like, opens the door or something like that. And yeah, it's kind of stuff like that. We've been quite lucky with shots not going wrong from timing and stuff like that. There have been. Well, there's not been any large mistakes. I mean, like back in the day at Games Workshop.
Yeah. I mean, I know you've done. Yeah, I know you've done some like little funny sort of intro bits to your videos and that. But have you got any plans to go back to doing some of your sort of comedy skits like you did during your Games Workshop video days? Like, for instance, the Renegade Night. Video that you did, I always go back and rewatch that. Like you sort of rocking in the corner. We're gonna stick tentacles on them.
Yeah. That one was really fun. The best thing about doing that one was that I was working with Laura, who was the lady who's working in Warhammer TV, and so it was her project to do, and she knew what I was like if I got like off on a tangent talking about knights in this way, and so the instruction was basically just do that. So I kind of made it all up, but the plan was to make her laugh. So I was doing everything I could to make her like lose it behind the camera. That one was fun.
Right, we must really move on now. If we do, by any chance, have any time for questions later, we will come back to it. But we have to be wary of a time constraint. We'll quickly go through the GW news we have coming up now. So the pre-orders this week, I don't know if you have seen them yourself, Duncan, or not. I don't know how closely to the ground you keep your ear these days. But we have the Kill Team Chalanath, I think it is. I really am find it difficult to pronounce GW names. It's the skirmish combat kit for the Tau Empire versus the Adeptus Auritus. Gus, can you tell us anything about this?
Yeah, really nice kit. I like this. Yeah, so it's a new starter box expansion for Kill Team. Apparently, they're going to be releasing one of these every quarter, so that I've heard. So this one features the Sisters of Battle and the Tau. The Sisters of Battle sprues in there. This is an entirely new kit, and they're really nice. The Sisters Novitiates. So they're basically like Space Marine Scouts, but for Sisters of Battle equivalent. So they're like the new recruits that are sort of going out to prove themselves. And this is an entirely new kit, and it's a really nice kit too.
Yeah, the scenery looks awesome as well.
Which is interesting because it's... Yeah, I believe the scenery is already pre-existing.
Yeah, most likely.
Get. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm fairly sure these are just the standard sort of Gothic ruins that you can get these days. But it's a really nice bundle. If you're just getting it for the new models, then it's literally the Sisters of Battle side, and there's a single sprue that they've added to the existing Pathfinder kit. So Yeah, it adds a lot of new options and that for Kill Team. I don't know if there's any rules for the 40k side of things for the Tau, but they have released the individual data sheet for the novitiates.
Oh, I wish there was rules for the 40k side of the tower, because then that would
Duncan,
make it
any
ninth
thoughts on
edition.
these new models?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I think
any thoughts from Duncan there?
Oh, sorry, I missed that. I think it looks like a fun set. I like
we cut
seeing
him
you
off?
updating it now. I think the Imperial stuff tends to get a lot of the attention, so it's nice to see one of the Xenos armies getting something a little bit different. And I think it's cool for Tau to get that. New bits and pieces for the Pathfinders do look cool. I'd recommend if you have if you're interested in doing something like Tau and you've got a friend who's in Sister Battle, you can just like, split set between you, and like whoever wants the core kill team stuff then can have that. Scenery is always a useful thing to have too. The Gothic ruins are really nice. Those modern ones are really fun to put together, and you can make some really intricate buildings and stuff from it. So yeah, it looks like fun to me. I'm pretty sure that the units in these boxes are going to come out at a later date as a separate thing. I don't know how they do the extra frame for the Pathfinders, if it's just like maybe an extra sprue that can be used on a Fire Warriors too. But like with the older kill team stuff with the Death Core and stuff, you can see how they're doing a box of those. So I imagine down the road in a few months, the same sort of thing will happen here if you're looking for loads of the shits or something like that.
Yeah. Next, we come on to the dice, which yet again, apart
Imagine it
from
would just be
last
a
week's
reboxing
dice,
of the Pathfinders like they did with the Cadians.
Okay, I think we have to be aware that for some reason I think the delay has increased, guys. Sorry about that, everyone else. So next we come on to the dice.
They're leaving me behind.
Yeah, and they've gone back to their old two-tone colours here again. Apart from the dice last week, we've been seeing some dice come out from GW recently that have been quite disappointing, to be honest. So there's not a good huge amount to talk about. These dice just have the emblem on them from they got the Fleur de Lis and you got the Tau Empire one. That's pretty much it. There's not much to talk about them at all.
Yeah, I like that they are functional dice. They are just your standard 6-sided dice, symbol on the 6, nice symbol. I really wish they'd stop sticking with this one set orange, one set black. That literally every kill team set of dice has literally either been orange or black, and I would like to see a bit of variation in color. And there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to which set is black and which set is white. Yeah. Because you've got half your factions that have nothing to do with each other in black, and half the other factions that don't have anything to do with each other in orange. And there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to which one gets which color. So I would like to see a bit more variation.
Yeah. Moving on to Adeptus Titanicus. Now, I've never played this side of the game. I believe, Gus, you've painted some of this stuff for your commission painting. So I'll let you go on with these.
Yes, I've painted
bits.
quite a bit of it. So yeah, this is just the new War Master Iconoclast Heavy Battle Titan. Basically, it's a huge, giant looking tower of death that rather than going pew pew goes crush crush, stomp stomp.
Saw.
So it is an existing kit with different options in it. Yeah. Really nice. Really nice. I don't actually play the game myself, but I'm really interested in maybe getting my hands on one of these at some point for a commission, and actually we're putting some paint on it. So
I think this is a good one personally. This adding extra titans is always good.
Things to add.
Yeah, it's Titanicus is one of the games that I've played the most out of in recent years from Games Workshop. I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's their best game at the moment. So I definitely recommend people try it out. It's very characterful, very narrative driven, and it's really fun when like you have one time punch another one and you have like the movement of it like literally turning away as it takes the blow in its face and stuff. It's really fun. This would be interesting to see how people do with this one because it's a really big slow Titan and it's armed with close combat weapons. So whatever it catches up to, it'll destroy it, but it's getting there is going to be the thing. Yeah, I think it's cool. The models are lovely. They're beautifully intricate. If anyone
Got to
wants to
run
try it
the
out,
gauntlet, so to speak.
Yeah, a normal army is like 4 miniatures, so it's not an excessive amount to paint either. Like a big one, a medium one, and 2 little ones, and you set to go. So yeah, check it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then it goes on to transfers.
Now, big news for the next thing. The Plastic Thunderhawk. there's finally a Plastic Thunderhawk. It's only this big, but it's a Plastic Thunderhawk. It's not the size that matters, it's how you use it.
So this is the Aeronautica Imperialis game.
I remember Games Workshop. I remember the release video for this. It was a massive troll video, but it was done, executed perfectly.
So that is the Thunderhawk gunship and the Fire Raptor squadron being released for the Aeronautica Imperialis game. It's not something I believe that me or Gus the Hutt play or get involved with, but yes, this is what is up for pre-order coming this Saturday. Now the next section is interesting. Yes. That there's a reason
hang on
why.
A minute.
What's up?
I think my screen has changed to an Ann Summers site.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Those are definitely not gaming aids.
No, I'm just going to neatly avoid these jokes.
Yes, please. All right. We have to keep this GG, please. Right, so this is interesting because I've obviously, as a stockist for Games Workshop products, have not been able to stock this stuff recently, and that's always a tell for me when they're going to be releasing something new. So yes, the Citadel Painting Handle XL has been released now, and it's supposed to be the biggest grip they've ever released in a single handle, 170 millimeters in width, which is massive. And there has been some concern raised at how stable that is actually going to be. I would say the only real way they're going to be able to make that stable is if that handle is weighted.
But I don't think it's a valid concern.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a valid concern because it's a handle. You're going to be holding it most of the time. Most of the time when you're using it, and I wouldn't leave a large model on an elevated position just sitting for any length of time anyway, because it doesn't matter how weighted that is, my elbow is going to be knocking it over at some point. So I don't think it's really a valid concern.
Fair enough. Do you use any form of painting handles or anything like that at all?
I do. I use the smaller one. I've actually still got the old original one from a few years ago. I know they replaced it recently, but I'm quite used to using it now. I found it a bit of an adjustment at first, but yeah, that's the one. I really like them. I think they're cool. I find when it starts getting to the bigger models, I don't really find them so useful anymore because the model's such a weighty thing. If you're kind of holding underneath it, it feels like so doing neatness on your model often requires that you keep your hands together, like in ways like that. If you watch our videos, my hands are always touching in some way. They're kind of like moving around like that, but it keeps you steady. When the handle gets underneath the base of a certain size, you can't do that anymore, and it suddenly becomes really awkward to paint it. So I'm not really into the ones for the bigger base like this, but that's just me. So
that's fair enough.
I see what you mean about the concerns about the model might fall over. I think the base does have to be weighted, but there's a lot of a pivot point going off with it. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And then they've got the assembly stand, which seems pretty cool. But to be honest, I'm not sure how much this is needed. Now, I've not been hobbying for that long, but I've not needed to have that sort of thing for myself personally. Maybe help with repairs is probably is definitely something that's needed. But some people might find this useful, but not myself personally. The Citadel Colour sub-assembly holder is actually something I think is quite long time coming, because I've been using cocktail sticks to do the job. Now, that's fine, but if this does a better job at holding it in place and is more solid, more stable, then I can see myself using these sub-assembly holders, especially how it's compatible with the actual painting handle. I think that's quite ingenious, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they're like. I can't tell if they've got like a little kind of thread to screw it in.
When I first saw the picture for this, I thought they were making Cluedo pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's a thread. From what I can see on that, it literally just pop. I think they mean you're supposed to glue it onto it.
Or just stick it on.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. I'm definitely curious to see what they're like. I think out of all these handles, and
Obviously,
stuff,
it's a spike, and there's no hole in the bottom of that head.
yeah, so you'll have to drill a hole in it.
It's either you drill a hole or you cut off a bit of the spike and then glue. I really don't know. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see. The system...
Even then, if you drill the hole in, there's nothing actually holding that head on. So I'm assuming that you've got the one handle and then you've got all these parts, and they're designed to be disposable, I suppose, which seems
Possibly.
a bit odd.
Yeah, that does seem almost like a bit of a waste if they are meant to be disposable. But if it is meant to be glued and cut, I suppose it can last for a little bit, but I don't know.
I think you can expect on the Warhammer TV YouTube channel, you'll probably see a video with PG illustrating how to use it. That's normally what they would have had when I was there. That's what they'd have us do. So I guess watch their channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is the Citadel Colour spray stick. Now, I use the spray stick myself, and the biggest complaint about the current spray stick is doing this. This one being able to articulate, I must say, is probably a good thing for it. What would be best, and I'm not sure how this works, is if it had like a trigger mechanism where you pull the trigger and it spun, but slowly. Now, I don't know if that does that on this. I can't see it.
To release the models?
No, when you pull the trigger, it slightly rotates it. Do you get what I mean?
Okay.
But I don't believe that is on this.
Yeah, as long as there was some sort of limiter on it, so you pull the trigger and then it starts spinning around like a helicopter.
Some sort of weapon.
Flinging models of paint all over the walls, yeah.
But yeah, I think that new spray stick will probably come
Why is there an
useful,
imprint of an intercessor on your wall?
especially how it's compatible with the sub-assembly holder as well. I think that's quite... if they didn't do that, then that would be silly, because right now I'm using blue tack. They have then released on the Forge World side of things, but as usual, we don't tend to talk about Forge World. But this, yet again, this model in from Forge World, it's the Saviour of Cav, I think it is. It's basically Roman. It's basically Mark III again. It looks like Mark III armor again, in my opinion.
Yeah, is this the Ultramarine with the banner? I think he's a character from the Horus Heresy series. The name escapes me.
Remus Ventanis.
Yeah, I think he's in No Fear, I think.
Okay. Duncan, what time is it you needed to get going today?
Probably in about 5 minutes.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Right, we will say... give me a second. I've lost where I was. There is Middle-earth stuff coming out this weekend, but it's not available to stockists. But it will be available. It's the Fall of Necromancer. It's to go along with what came out last week. I think these are all models that have been released before, from what I can see on the text. So they're not. I'm not sure if they're going to be under pre-order or if they're literally just available back on the shop this weekend. So it's a confusing way they've done this, to be honest. But that is
there'll be a direct only.
Yeah, probably direct only. So that's Middle Earth, and we don't talk about Black Library. We don't talk about Black Library because we don't have the time normally.
Neither of us read the books.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we don't read. We got no time for reading.
So that is Duncan Rhodes, who has joined us today. We have more of the podcast to cover once we say goodbye to Duncan Rhodes. Duncan, I did have a question for you directly from me that I didn't want to do live on stream, but I won't be able to do that today. But I will contact you by the other method to ask you a question. But thank you so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute privilege to have you here today. And I'm sure Gus feels that this went incredibly well. And is there anything more you want to say, Gus?
I've tried not to fangirl too much. I've done my best to rein it in. Yeah. All I can say is two thin coats isn't always the way forward because I am sweating.
Oh,
it's been a real pleasure. It's been great to talk to you guys. It's always nice to talk to regular people, I guess. And for the chat as well. Thanks to everybody who's been following this bizarre story that my life has become, and for everyone who backed the Kickstarter too, thank you so much. We've seen some lovely messages of people backing it just because they trust that we're going to do our best with it, and it's quite a deep feeling that gives you. Try not to let people down, but the paints are great, so I'm really looking forward to you guys getting them.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Duncan. Have a great weekend.
And also as well, I have to say this, even if Duncan's not going to, is that subscribe to the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. You
I suppose I
will
ought
not
to.
regret it.
I suppose I ought to plug
It is not a huge expense.
Yeah, give yourself a plug.
Yeah, it is not a huge expense, and you will get so much from it.
Give us an official plug.
You too can join the Painting Academy. So it's at duncanrhodes.com. By the way, it wasn't my idea to name it all after me. That was Roger's idea. I wanted someone else. But anyway, yes, duncanrhodes.com. It's £3.99 a month.
Good idea.
You get access to all of our videos, the forum, all the extra bits and pieces we have there, the reference gallery, the whole lot. And you can also follow me on Instagram, which is Duncan J. Rhodes. And we're on Facebook as well. And yeah, we encourage you to message us, say hello, show us what you've been painting, all that sort of stuff. But that's where you can find us.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Duncan. And hopefully we'll bring you on to Shop Talk again in the future at some point when you're, maybe once you finally release the two thin coat paints. Two thin coats paints. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
TTC.
Plugging the Duncan Rhodes lunchbox and board game combination.
Well, finally, thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you in the future sometime.
Absolutely. Great talking to you all. Have fun. Have a good afternoon and a good Friday, everybody. And I'll see you all again.
Bye. Oh, wow.
Bye, mate.
That was awesome, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah.
That was that. Look at him.
A bit.
Look, just a little bit. Look at him. He's just sitting there going.
Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely.
I bet you did indeed.
One of my modern heroes.
Right, so it's just back to us two again, ladies and gentlemen. Watch our viewer numbers just plummet now.
And everybody leaves the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are still live on a podcast, so we will crack on. Where were we up to? I think we were up to talking about Warhammer Plus is the next section.
We just finished. Yeah.
So we've got 3 items being released this week. Angels of Death Kill Team Battle Report, the Lore Masters. How do you say that word? Nagash, is it? Nagash. And the animations Astartes.
Nagash.
Okay, so a battle report for the Kill Team. Anything to say about this? Is it going to be interesting?
Yes, the battle report is actually a tie-in, I believe, for the Angels of Death animation that they've been running. So,
Are they're trying to narratively play it towards that animation?
Yeah, because it's been on its mid-season break, and I believe, I don't know whether this is true or not. The second half of the series should be resuming as of this coming Wednesday. So you'll be seeing the next episode of Angels of Death next Wednesday. And this is a battle report that ties into it. And I believe there's even a sort of a teaser trailer connected to the battle report. I'm not sure. I haven't actually watched it myself, but I've heard that there is a teaser trailer for the second half of the season attached to that.
That's cool. And one thing to note, which is not normally the case at this point, is this stuff's already released. Normally, we do this on a Wednesday, and it's not actually released yet. So you can go watch it right now.
It hasn't come out yet.
So there's the Lore Masters.
I'm taking these coats off, though.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely do that. So the next point is
I should have
the
turned the
Lore...
heating off before I did that. Right next to a radiator as well. Breathe.
Lore Masters Nagash.
Commitment to comedy.
Lore Masters Nagash.
Yes. So this is the big Lord of Death. Is an ancient necromancer that's basically become the embodiment of death in Age of Sigmar. He's pretty much godlike at this point. He is the lord of all things that should be dead but aren't. So it'd be nice to get a little bit of his backstory. And an absolutely amazing centerpiece model as well.
Okay, cool. The next thing from Warhammer Plus is the animation Astartes. Is this a new animation? I haven't seen this one on there yet.
No. Right. So this is the third-party fan-made animation that came out on YouTube. Completely, it was a fan creation. A fan of Games Workshop put this out, put in all the effort to make this thing, did it for free. So he earned no money from it. And it was amazingly well received. If anything, I think that partially what happened here was this had a very big contributing factor to Games Workshop starting their own series of animations. Basically what happened was they approached the guy that made this. Rather than sending the cease and desist letters like they have done in the past, they turned around to him and said, "Do you want a job?" So they have obviously taken the animator on board. They have now appropriated the original animation. I think they've done some like basic tweaks to it, like sounds and sort of rendering, that kind of thing, just to sort of bring it. Yeah, basically.
But was this series completely available on YouTube, and now they're just re-releasing it under a paid banner?
Still is.
Whoa.
Still is. Yeah, so this shouldn't be a big release this week. This should have been day one Warhammer Plus content. This shouldn't be the big release for this week.
Well, it's clearly
it's a bit of a letdown that it is.
Yeah, it's clearly because they haven't got much.
Oh, hello.
Can you not hear me?
I think I've lost you, Brendan. You frozen?
No, not mine.
You froze for a moment. Or you froze at my end. Hello?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Ooh. I lost you then for a second. Are you back?
And I lost you.
I think
we lost each other.
I think it was your internet that dropped out, mate.
Possibly. I don't know.
Anyway, carrying on.
So something bottomed out there. This should have been day one content for Warhammer Plus. I mean, everyone knew it was going to be on Warhammer Plus. This was just known. They even put up the video as part of the promotion for Warhammer Plus, saying this is the kind of thing you can expect from if you subscribe to Warhammer Plus. And they put the entirety of this video up on their community page, which I think, if you find the article, is still there somewhere. So this has been readily available, and this is not a look at this huge release that we're doing this week. It's like, we've already seen it.
Yeah, that's just They're clearly not got enough content right now, which doesn't bode well.
They're trying to spread things a bit thin. I think they launched too soon. They should have built up a library of stuff and waited another year, in my opinion.
Yeah, that probably would have been best. I think what they were trying to do, though, is what would have been ideal is if they had the library of stuff available a year earlier, obviously, and then released it during lockdown. That would have been ideal, but obviously they can't affect the world.
Yeah. Obviously, they can't retroactively create content.
No, exactly.
Yeah, they need time machines for that.
Right.
Where we're going, we don't need content.
So we've really only got one more thing to cover on this podcast. It's been an epic podcast so far. I think you can agree.
100%.
There is a little the geek out we normally do at this point, but to be honest, I've been ill. I've not really been watching much. I've been watching a few westerns and a few war films, since I've been ill, but I've not been really geeking out.
Yeah, I haven't actually had a lot of time to watch. I mean, I'm about 5 weeks behind on watching The Flash, so
Right, fair enough.
so yeah, I just haven't had time.
So I had that in the show notes as to be confirmed, but no, we won't be confirming it today. The next section is
Just because we've got nothing to talk about.
Is GG News. This is Griffin Gaming News. No, I ain't got a jingle yet. Expansion plans are currently on hold, everyone. We had looked at going into another room in the centre we are in to expand. That we were offered the room, actually. We were offered it.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Because last you'd heard was you were about third in the queue.
Yeah, and then we became first. And then we were quickly negotiated for a external door, which they quickly went, no, you can't do that. So, if we take it on the merit of that, then it's worse. The room is worse than.
It's not a lot of point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just got to hope that one of the external units opens up at some point.
There is an external unit opening up, and we're 7th in line to be. We've got 7th refusal on that, and the external units are like gold dust. They really are highly sought after. So we don't think that will be a viable option either. And for instance, one of the units around the front, which would be absolutely ideal, I think the last time one of them came up was like 10 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, the Framers Corner, which is a picture framing shop around the front, has been there for over 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't even know there was a framing shop there.
Oh, it's quite good. It's we've used them occasionally. But expansion plans are on hold, but that doesn't mean we aren't doing something about it, guys. We are... some of you might notice that a few months ago, like 2 months ago, we finished our...
Yeah, not even that.
we finished our design of the shop, and we were going to leave it at that. But looking at the expansion plans we were trying to do, we've now decided to redesign the shop. We are not going to give too many details, but the redesign of the shop should allow us to have at least a couple full-size gaming tables in it. At least 2. So that should be quite exciting, to be honest. And it would already be in the stages of getting redesigned right now if I was at work, wouldn't it, Ian?
Yep. The boxes are all there stacked up. Paige had to bring them in from the van, which she was not best pleased about that you weren't there to do it.
Well, I'm sorry. Government told me I can't. So yeah, watch this space, because we will have it soon where there'll be real gaming tables and there'll be enough of them for you to book. whole sections out, and we hope that that will actually be quite good for us in the near future as well. And we're always looking at more new ways to expand. So we've told the centre to keep an eye out for any future units. We do want to get a painting studio set up at some point. We want to get Gus in on the Griffin Gaming channel painting for us. So that is another plan. Yep. GG News is quite exciting. So hopefully by the new year, we'll have some pretty decent things for offering everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Plus Gus getting paid is is very exciting.
Yes, Gus getting paid is exciting.
It's me.
Right.
Although then I can't criticize you as much if you're paying me.
Yeah, sure you can. Well, I'm sure Duncan and his fellow partner won't criticize each other all the time. I can't actually remember the name of his counterpart. What did you say his name was?
Roger.
Roger, that's it. Roger. Get it in the head, Roger.
Yeah.
It does seem a bit of a shame that
Michael
Roger
Collins
isn't as in the limelight as Duncan Rhodes, but I guess that's the way he likes it, maybe.
Yeah. He's kind of become a sort of off-screen character at this point, for a lot of the videos. So his name comes up a lot. He's known, but obviously Duncan is the face.
Yeah, true. Right, guys, that's pretty much it. What we have for the Shop Talk podcast this week. I was amazed by Turnstrike when he managed to get us this introduction to Duncan Rhodes. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you, buddy. We might
have to buy him a Christmas hamper or something. Not an expensive one. No.
But I've really thoroughly enjoyed today, and hopefully Duncan has as well. Hopefully we've made a good impression on him, and you never know, this might be the start of something good. Hopefully we can talk to him more in the future as well. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I have been Brendan Mills.
Just very grateful for him to take time out of his busy schedule.
Definitely.
It was amazing that he's said yes. He's top guy.
Yeah, definitely. I am Brendan Mills from Griffin Gaming and Griffin Gaming Harlow on twitch.tv. My co-host here, Gus the Hutt, you can find him on twitch.tv/Gus the Hutt. And you will see the links to this in the show notes as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Come follow me if you don't already.
Yes. Thank you for joining us for the podcast.
Not literally. I don't want like people following me in the street. Like this like long queue of people is like trailing behind me like some sort of human centipede.
just no. And I might as well say it. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.